Hello, welcome to the guide to the MMTIC Facilitator Interface. This video is designed to acquaint you with the basic functioning of this interface, and the MMTIC Facilitator Interface is used by professionals who administer the Murphy-Meisgeier Type Indicator for Children, which is published by CAPT, the Center for Applications of Psychological Type. Let's begin by looking at the MMTIC Manager page, and this is the page that you land on after you log into your account. You can learn more about getting the interface for yourself on the CAPT website, and that's capt.org. So we land here on the MMTIC Manager page, and before I tell you about the functionality of this page, which is where most of the work gets done, let's have a look at this top menu bar, which will also serve as a way for you to get an overview of what this facilitator interface has in store for you. So the manager is where most of your work happens. Also, we have a section for you here called Using the MMTIC, and this is your source for best practices on how to use the interface and the assessment itself. And we have a 5-step program for you here. And if you roll your mouse over these Learn More buttons, you will see an explanation that tells you what to do in each of the steps. And these are the steps required for you to successfully administer the MMTIC with young people. So you start by creating your profile. You'll give the MMTIC assessments to students. You'll score the assessment and generate the reports. You'll provide feedback with the students and verify their type. And then you can come back to this interface and generate other reports, and of course make a type table if you choose. The MMTIC Guidelines section is exactly that. The administrative and ethical guidelines are all spelled out for you here, and we highly recommend that you take some time and read this page. Then we're happy to supply you with some essential downloads. These are really valuable tools for successfully using the MMTIC with young people, starting right off with the manual, which you can see is downloadable for free. As a matter of fact, everything on this page you can download at no cost. So if you want to use a paper and pencil version of the MMTIC, there's those items there, the test booklets and the answer sheets. A parental permission request letter is highly useful. And of course the guide to verifying type with students and the type verification activities for each of the students. I Am a Good Student is what they're called, and they're available for each grade level. In our Supplemental Materials section, you will see all the publications that CAPT offers that will help you in your search for excellence in using the MMTIC. And we highly recommend that you take advantage of a few of these resources, especially Exploring Personality Type. This series of 3 booklets, one for each grade level, are highly recommended. You should give one of those out to every young person who takes the MMTIC. It includes the type verification activities and a whole wealth of fantastic information for the student and for you. So highly recommended, these 3. Let's move on to your account page. And this page shows you what you have in stock, so to speak, your inventory of MMTIC reports, the date that your subscription is good until, and a link here for you to purchase more scoring and reports. And we'll get into that in a minute. We also have an archives page where you can archive some of the profiles that you no longer need to look at. We'll look at that again in more detail soon. And a help page. If you're the sort of person who likes to read about all this, here it is for you. A little bit about all the sections available to you in the MMTIC Facilitator Interface. Now, let's go back to the MMTIC Manager, and this is where you'll be doing most of your work. Here's what this screen shows. You have the ability to create the profiles that you'll be using with the MMTIC. The school profile, the organization or family profile, or the individual profile. Now, your first step in using the Facilitator Interface will be to create a profile. As you can see on the screen, we've already created 1 school profile and 2 different individual profiles. So let's look at Create a School Profile. And you'll see that the system presents me with a series of fields that I need to fill out to create the profile. Those marked with an asterisk are required. And once I do that and I hit the Save button, I'll be taken to a screen where I have to create a group. and you're required to create groups when you have a school profile or an organizational profile. So let's presume that I've created my profile. I'm clicking on Our Middle School, and this is the profile page, the page where you'll be doing all your work with this particular profile. And notice that here is a button called Create Group if I want to create any more groups in this profile beside the one I was required to make when I first made it. I could click on this button here, and there you see the Create Group screen. I simply give it a name, the ability level of the students, and I can create the group. But for now, I'm just going to go back to my profile screen, and let's go over what this screen shows. At the top, you'll see the name of your profile, Our Middle School. In the upper left here, you'll see a box here with the information you will give to students who take the MMTIC in this profile. And look, here is the URL address of where they'll go to take the MMTIC online. This number is their login, and this is the password that you set up when you created the profile. You'll also notice here on the right a list of your available reports. And these are the reports that you own, part of your inventory that you've already purchased in your account on the MMTIC interface. If you want to get more, you can click on this link right here, Purchase Reports. And here is a very simple way for you to make this purchase. It's a fast shopping cart. Just type in the amount you want, continue with your order. The system will ask you for your credit card number, and that's it. And you'll see more reports here in your inventory. If you want to learn more about the reports themselves, you can click on this link and you'll see descriptions for each of the reports that are offered here. Now also notice that you will see these orange question marks sprinkled liberally throughout the page. If you roll your mouse over these, the system will give you instructions for that particular function on the page. Very handy, and we encourage you to make use of those. Now, also on the top here beside Create Group is a button for me to view and edit the profile, and that will allow me to go back and change any of the parameters that I set when I originally created the profile. And I can also go and make a type table and classroom manager report. Now let's move down here to our very first group, and I've called that group the math class. And there's some very important information you can glean from just looking at these three students. So let's start off with Betty Jones. You notice Betty's name is linked. I can click on her name and I can change the parameters that she entered when she took the MMTIC. Her grade level, her age, anything like that, I can still change it. You'll notice that for these two names, Bertha Miller and Joe Smith, I can no longer do that. And that is because we've already scored and generated the first student report for both these students. Once that's done, you can no longer edit their information. So that's an important indicator for you. Betty Jones has taken the MMTIC, but I have not generated a report. You'll see no reported type here. Bertha Miller did take the MMTIC. Here's her reported type, and I went through the verification process with her, and I entered her verified type. When I did that, the system now lets me score and generate a professional verified type report, a career report, or of course a student verified type report. You'll notice with Joe Smith, we did generate a report. We have a reported type for Joe, but I cannot get the student verified type report nor the professional verified or career reports. And that's because I have not gone through the verification process and entered the verified type. So three different situations with three students. It's important to note that if a student has not yet taken the MMTIC in your profile, you will not see their name here. Their name shows up when they go online and take the MMTIC. That triggers the system to display their name. So that's the case here with Betty Jones. She took the MMTIC, and now it's time for us to score the first report for her. So Betty is in middle school. I'm going to choose the middle school report, and I'm going to choose the Score Now button. Simple as that. And when I do that, the system is going to say, are you sure you want to do that? Because we are going to decrement one of your reports from your balance, and I say, yes, I am sure. And now the system will begin to score the report, and you will see that we get some messages at the top of the screen about what's happening. The job has been submitted. I will get an email when it's ready, and my account has been debited any new reports that were generated. So let me scroll back down here, and you can see that the system is now busily working away, and that icon there indicates that the report is now being generated. After a few minutes, I can refresh the page, or I can come back and log back in, and the report will be available. So let's do that. Let's refresh the screen. And now you can see that the report is available. The middle school report for Betty Jones is here. And her reported type is here, ENTP. And I could also generate a professional report right now if I wanted to. Now notice that under Bertha Miller, there are 2 student reports ready for me here. I generated 2 reports. We are letting you do that because you might find a situation where when I originally generated one of these reports for Bertha, I decided that she really needed to see a different grade level report. So I went back and generated an elementary school report for her too, so she would be more comfortable in reading it. So we allow you to generate 2 of the student or student verified reports at no extra charge. And once you do that, you notice the 3rd radio button is missing here. I can only do 2 of these 2 style reports. By the way, you'll notice that these reports are in the Adobe Reader format, and these are available for you to download and save on your computer and print them out and give them to the young people that you work with. These reports are always going to be available for you here on your MMTIC Facilitator Interface account. Now let's look at another feature that is useful. Up here at the top here, I can go to Archives, and you'll notice that in your profile page you have a button here to archive this profile or archive this particular group, in this case math class. So if I'm done working with these students and I just don't need to see this on the profile anymore, let's say I just want to clean up my screen or clean up my account, I can go to the archives. So let's go to my archives right now, and you'll see that I've archived an organizational profile called After School Club, and I created 2 groups in this profile. So let's say, for example, that I would like to once again work with this profile. I simply click on After School Club, and now the system is going to take me right to that profile page called After School Club. And here are my students I was working with. I was working with Mortimer Miller here on the Tuesday group, and on the Thursday group you see no completed administrations. And that's what your groups look like until someone takes the MMTIC. There's no data there at all. You notice I could still delete this group if I chose to, but once someone has taken the MMTIC within a group or a profile, you can no longer delete, you can only archive. And I could have in the archive screen just activated any one of these single groups, not the whole profile, but I chose to do the whole profile. So let's go to my MMTIC Manager, and now you see that unlike earlier, I have organizational profiles because I activated this one. I removed it from the archives. So now you can see that I have all 3 types of profiles here on my MMTIC Manager page. So this has been a brief overview of what you can do in the MMTIC Facilitator Interface. There's a lot more to learn if you use the help screens or use the rollovers. And if you have any questions at all about using the MMTIC with young people, please refer to the MMTIC manual or contact the CAPT Customer Service Department. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy using the MMTIC assessment with the young people that you work with.